Welcome to the Social Impact Level Up podcast. This is where we blur the lines between business, nonprofit, and impact. In season 3, we're redefining success for social entrepreneurs looking to grow their revenue. If you have reality-changing ideas, this is the place for you. Let's jump right into today's episode. Have you ever wondered how to pick a trainer? Are you sure exactly what kind of trainer you need and who is the best one for you? Well, my guest today is going to help us figure these things out. And he's my client, David Hughes. We're here to talk about his brand, Lean Performance Life, and all of the amazing things that he's doing to help people transform their wellness. David, tell us who you are and how you make an impact.
Awesome. Thanks. I would say that fitness is like my tool that I kind of use to work with people and everything like that. The way that I make an impact is, I think I've kind of found my niche with just kind of connecting with the community in general. So whether it's been like members at the gym or just meeting people around town and just introducing myself.
Yeah, and I've seen you connect with people even recently at your launch of your business as a new business owner out on your own with your brand recently. I want to hear your experience. What was it like just standing in front of a group full of people telling them for the first time about your business?
It was kind of strange at first because I'm pretty used to like talking to people and standing in front and doing that kind of stuff. But when I'm representing myself and standing up there and being like, hey, I'm going to wear my heart on my sleeve for a minute to a bunch of people. I don't know. It was kind of strange, but I think once I kind of got into it and then, just during the little speech or talk that I did, it became less of a thing of like, I hope people like this. And it was more of a thing of being like, you got to hear what I got to say kind of thing. Like this actually means something. And I think it actually is going to work. So by the end of it, I kind of felt empowered and also relieved because I had been stressing about it for a while. But ultimately, I think I felt empowered by the end of it.
Yeah, and it was really good to see you just standing in front of a room full of people who were all hanging on every word and very interested in everything you were saying. And you're so dynamic, like a true salesman. So it was great without being silly, though, right? And so there's ways to be silly without being silly. And I think you did a great job that day. I want to tell people what Lean Performance Life is because I think people are maybe just discovering this brand, just hearing about it for the first time. And you're just discovering what it's all about and sharing that with the world as well. So give us a peek into what is Lean Performance Life?
Lean Performance Life is a virtually based platform that's designed to give clients all the tools and resources they need to be able to succeed in any of their health and fitness goals. So we do everything from giving people like instant programs so they can just grab that and follow it along however they want to go through. And everything's delivered via an app. There's also the full coaching programs. And this is kind of like where we really get to shine. It's where a client will come in, they find the coach they want to work with, and we get to sit there and meet with them for about 30 minutes to an hour. From that point on, we literally design everything that they need based around their understanding of exercise, their experience, the type of facility they have, whether it's just an empty room or if they have a full-fledged gym that they have, any injuries, like anything and everything that they might be running into. And we program based on all that stuff. And again, it's all delivered via an app. The nice thing about it as well is that we get to put like notes and different emphases and different phases of different programs that we might be writing for them. And then like as soon as they go through and finish the workout, we get like a little notification. And so we get to track their progress in real time. So some of the coaches and myself have seen some of our clients go through and, they perform in a certain way. One day, just everything is kind of off. And the cool thing that we've discovered doing this has been just looking at data alone instead of actually being there in person works just phenomenally well. We're able to tap it and be like, hey, why was something a little bit off today? And it's just a different form of communication that we really run into. Ultimately, we just build out everything and we help with the nutrition as well, meal planning, meal tracking, all that stuff. And then even down into something that I think is very powerful is the habit tracking. So not just the working out, but if someone's working on including something else in their nutrition or recovering better, or even things like have some people that were like just wanting to focus on spending more time with their family before and calling their friends. And we were able to put all that stuff in the app so that way they were able to make sure that they were continuing, not just progressing just in physical fitness, but their overall well-being, which I think was just super cool.
Want to amplify your impact today? Join the Social Impact Level Up Collective, where social entrepreneurs just like you meet monthly to inspire world-changing ideas. You'll get access to my top courses and resources, speakers, and exclusive community events. Hop in right now at wendiebelos.com/collective. Yeah, I think that's where we get along really well because we both have that perspective of total well being and your personal, professional, and family lives needing to be in alignment. And you may not always find balance, but I think there are things you can do to try to bring that together. And habits and habit formation are really important in that. I know if from working with you, and I don't know, people really don't know the dynamics of our relationship, so we should probably clue them in. You're kind of at the tail end of a 6-month coaching package where you've worked with me one-on-one through the development of some of these services. Naming Instant Trader was sort of a co brainchild between the two of us. And we did a lot of work together. And I think that in my reflection, I've been able to see you grow not only as a business and what you provide and what you want to provide, but also just your philosophy around the business and how people transform. And I'd love for you to give some insight into like, how do we as adults maintain our wellness? I mean, I've seen you just rock out your blogs, talk about all kinds of really cool things. So I know your brain is thinking about this stuff 24/7. How can we make it easier for ourselves to really live a life of wellness? And like, what are your real true tips that you think are maintainable for people?
It comes on a one-on-one basis a lot, but I'll just kind of talk from my own like personal experience. But I believe that resonates with everyone because I like to practice what I preach every now and then. But I really think that it really boils down to a lot of balance. So the most common thing that I really run into with clients is it's always like one thing that's very dominant. So a lot of times when people come in, they're often like very physically fitness dominant, and that's like what their life revolves around, right? If throughout the day they're eating and they're timing out their meals for like that to make sure they hit their goals and that, right? Or a lot of people who are really struggling, they come in and it's just all work dominant, right? So we kind of work on kind of trying to like unwind a lot of that and get people, a little more balanced. So the one thing that we really work on is recovery. And I think that's massive. That needs to play a part in every part of your life. So making sure that if you're working 100%, that you give yourself from this time to this time to be 100% locked in. And then once that time is done, to be able to be like, all right, cool. What other areas of my life are super, super important to me? Like, does somebody need to focus on their marriage or their kids? Or do they need to go to the gym, or focus on meal prepping? Or even just, I've had a couple people even like block out times just to reflect, journal, even like listen to music, something to kind of balance you out a little bit, because we'll use fitness as an example. You can only perform for so long at a high level. Every single person is like that, right? I don't care who you are, what you think you do. You can't rev that high forever. Nor do I believe that someone who isn't fully sold out to some crazy mission, the average person needs to find that in a daily life too. So finding joy, obviously, in your career, whatever it might be, but also making sure that you're like, whatever you're doing outside of that is just reigniting you. And usually when someone is able to find that, and unfortunately it's not everybody, but when people are able to find that, that's when you start seeing them really spark and really come alive. And then this is when you start to see like creativity come back. And then, they're a little bit happier and a little bit more energetic. And they just speak at a higher level, because it's like, they're not always just bogged down with just this one thing, and I don't think anybody's meant to do that anyway. So
yeah, all the noise,
that's kind of what it is.
The mental noise that happens in your head because you're so busy with all the things. Yeah, I think that resonates with me because, like you were saying, our own personal journey is the space to start inspiration for other people to go on their journey. And it doesn't have to look the same. It could look very different. And I think the one thing I've seen with what you're bringing to the fitness world is the ability for people to kind of do this even tailored thing on demand, right? So on my schedule, on my time, when I can find the balance to work it into all the other things I have going on, and it's accessible, like in my pocket. There are a lot of apps out there. There are a lot of fitness apps out there. And I also know that I've been unsuccessful as a person, tracking my calories on MyFitnessPal or other things. And so for people who've tried some of these techniques or tried some of these apps, tried some of these things and it didn't work, like what more could you do to try to make these tools useful for you? Like how do you still use these tools that are available, like your app, if you've maybe failed in the past at them?
So yeah, whenever somebody comes in and starts working with me, what I like to see them do, if it's usually they're pretty locked on it, and it's like, this is what I do, right? And it usually comes from like some kind of misunderstanding of what it is. So for example, like macros, some people do very, very well with it, right? And if somebody's watching this and they're doing this and they're doing well at it, then 100% keep it up, right? But if you're someone who does that and they're having a hard time with it, I tend to see it comes from a misunderstanding of what it is. And it's somebody trying to find some kind of miracle result, or they see someone who's very well at it and they're trying to imply that, bring it to life. And so something we try to get clients to understand is that nutrition and culture or your lifestyle, they're completely locked together, right? The only people who don't do that are people that are standing on stage or high competitors. So unless you're like competing to like stand on stage in your underwear or like to get number one or something like that, or you're just locked in a program, it really doesn't need to be that intense, right? So the alternative that we offer, one of them is a habit-based coaching. So we go through and we, do an assessment and find out how they kind of do their day-to-day life as far as eating goes. And then we pick on those strengths, and we start to say like, hey, how can we make these a little bit better, right? We don't really want to look at like negatives and be like, let's pull some of these things away unless it's like a massive thing. Like I have donuts like 7 times a day or whatever. Not that I've ever had that, but if it's something big like that, be like, hey, let's try to knock this one out. Right?
I will never show you my chocolate stash. Remind me.
But yeah, we'll go through and we just try to establish like an actual habit, something that, the emphasis of what we try to do is when someone's done working with us, whether or not we'll work with you forever, but like if someone's eventually going to step away, which we plan for, we want them to be able to carry those things with them forever. So if it's like 6 months or 6 years down the road and they're having a struggle, it's like, at least we know you have the knowledge on how to habitually create a platform of success, whatever that might mean to the client in that time.
Yeah, really making it a sustainable change for their lifestyle versus just a program that you're feeling like, oh, I failed at that and now I'm going to go into the next program or the next program. Yeah, and I think that that's idea of on-demand, fitness and things like that. The one thing I thought was really cool about what you're doing is that it's you or the trainers who are actually doing the workouts in the app. So it's not some like rando person. And so can you talk a little bit about that? Like, are you here taping all these sit-ups or like what is going how does this part of it work? Oh, and give us the background, like not from the user perspective, from the business owner perspective, like what does it take to put this together for you?
Holy smokes. I heard one of my buddies, if anybody's looking for a videographer, if you see my stuff, his name is Elmer Diaz, man. The guy was the man on this one. And the reason why I have to give him props for this is because when we went in to go to the app, we set it up and it was literally exercise after exercise after exercise. And I remember by, I think like an hour into it, I was like, yo, I am so tired right now because I was doing, here's how to do a bicep curl. Here's how to do every single variation. We had a huge list and we were going down, checking them off. And then I remember my teammate, one of our coaches, Jenny, was like, you can let someone else do it if you want, so that you're getting tired, right? Because I was like recording one after the other. So if you ever join and see the app, you'll see a two other coaches in there doing stuff. We try to get as many as possible. Sometimes we do have to pull from another resource, but yeah, getting it set up and recording all these videos to make sure that things were done, not just branded, because we wanted to make sure that people continue to see the brand, but also the amount of advice that's out there on how to do something that's explained in a way that I was genuinely like, man, like this can just be done so much better. I was just kind of astounded by it. I was like, man, it's not hard to make a short video and show you how to do it. And instead of being like, I felt like I was reading a blog sometimes, man. I was like, people were just going through and just explaining everything about it and what the benefits were and the sciences behind it. And I was like, dude, I just need like a 10-second clip, man. So it was a lot. It was a huge process, huge process, which I'm thankful is over now.
And now you could just see all of these videos on the app because they're all produced. But it is quite, I think, a lot of effort on your part. So we appreciate you going through that extra effort to not only brand it, to make the information accurate, right? Like that's also appreciated. And, from that aspect as a business owner, you are moving from the phase of, we just got off of this build for your website. We created a whole bunch of content for that, went through and did all the meticulous planning around how is this going to get people into your funnel? How is it going to bring people in so you can make the impact that you want to make? And then you're moving now into the content generation and bringing people into the website. So can you tell people more, like, what are you thinking about for your vision for what you want to create in terms of the content and the brand and the hype around Lean Performance Life?
To be honest with you, it's been a lot of chaos up here with that because you can talk to my wife. Like I'll be sitting there like, hey, and I'll just come up with this idea. Like, I think I should talk about this. And then I'll move on from one thing to the next. But I think at the moment right now, just trying to find like relevant topics that are actually like, I want to put stuff that's actually like really, really simple and really, really relevant. Because social media, I don't think by any malicious intent has done a fantastic job at overcomplicating the living hell out of how to be healthy. I was even talking to somebody this past weekend and they were like, oh, I just found out I was taking vitamin D wrong. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, we've been around for how many like millions of years? And I was like, and this is crazy, right? This is crazy talk. So the content that I really want to put out right now is going to be like really achievable, sustainable, something you grab onto, you can use to take it home and you'll actually see a result from it. The other things that I want to get into are I have this creative side to me. And so as far as like the forefront on like Instagram and videos and stuff like that, I mean, you've probably seen it like with my Instagram feed. I'll put like little music videos together, right? I kind of want to bring that in just because that's how my brain operates. I'll hear a song or I'll see something like that and it just starts churning and I can't get rid of it. And then they usually end up being like a little story on my feed. But I don't know. I think that's kind of like the path I'm taking because I feel like it's something that's different. I'm not trying to be like somebody else. I'm not trying to stand my shirt off and be like, this is David Hughes Fitness. You can have a semi-aesthetic body as well. You know? I mean, I'm doing all right, but I'm not like a bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying?
You're not standing around in your underwear places.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, you know, so.
You and me both, homie. I'm telling you, I got that chocolate jar.
Right. Yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm going with the content right now. Is at the moment, I just want to do really, really like not sustainable, but like really valuable information that you can use right off the bat. I don't want to, like you said, I'm not really a salesy kind of guy. Like if you want to work with us, cool, work with us. If not, then, you know, we don't have to go down that road of that fight. You know, like I want it to be, if this is where you feel like you belong, I want to make sure that we reinforce that belief.
Yeah. And I appreciate that about your approach too, because I think it is refreshing for people not to be like forcing a sale, right? And speaking of which, I'm really curious to hear your reflections on working with me and going through coaching. You let in somebody into your business, into your brain to judge and laugh and cry and all the things with you, right? So what was that like for you to let in somebody like me into your private space?
I'm actually glad you asked this question. I've been like dying to like find a platform to talk about this rather than just being like, hey, go hire Wendie, right? So everybody knows. We've known each other for like a little bit now from States.
From around the way, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like, so that one time that you and Nancy were sitting there and we were talking and she had seen this great success and stuff. And I remember seeing her website come up and live and all this stuff. And I was following her. And I remember in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And seeing what she was going through. And I do remember being like, man, I was like, maybe I should. I was like, I mean, like I need a me, but in the business world, right? So yeah, I remember we were talking and all that stuff happened. And I was like, yeah, come on. I was like, I'm going to hire you, right? And it was I really think it was one of the simplest decisions I've ever made. I like didn't think about it. I was just like, I can see the results that are happening and I need help. I was like, I want that stuff. And I had luckily had the finances to be able to back that up. And so it wasn't even a sweat for me. So I'm used to being coached. Like back when I was like swimming and stuff like that, I've had people like just, you know, like just, it's time to go, right? This is what needs to be done. And then when that wasn't there, my mom stepped in and she was actually my coach for a good while and she did the same thing. She didn't let it. So I've had that background and stuff. So when we came into stuff and having the structure and having you be like, all right, here's what we're going to work on now. Here's how it looks. And then guiding me through and be like, here's what the future looks like. It took the amount of stress that was up to here and that just dropped was like invaluable. It was absolutely incredible. And I remember, I think came back and I was like, you have no idea. I was like, I actually have a plan. I went and told my coaches. I was like, you don't understand. I was like, it's not just going to be confusing anymore. And yeah, it was fantastic. I absolutely loved having you the whole way, especially when we got to the website, because when I was making the website on Wix, this isn't Wix's fault. This is like I have no clue what I'm doing. And I remember one time I looked at my wife and I shut the computer and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Or I was a 100% chance I'm going to destroy my computer. I can't do this. I was like, this is the one area I can't handle. Right. And so when you stepped in and helped me with that, I was like you literally took it over for me, guided me through it, spoke the language that needed to be spoke. And I don't know, just having someone blaze the wood trail for you was just was exactly what I needed. And I just, oh my God, I'm so thankful. Like the amount of stress you saved me was insane.
Oh, worth every penny, right? I love that for you because I feel like it's the stress that stops people from moving forward and feeling the fear of the unknown, right? Like I don't know what I don't know, and I'm worried about how much this is going to cost me. And that's one of the things I like to work with my clients on is what is the value that this is going to bring to your business, and making sure that when we make those kinds of big investments like a website and other things like that, that it's going to bring back the value to your business that you've seen. And I mean, that website that we build for Lead Performance Life, it's trainlpl.com, FYI. And it's like literally the website developers that we chose to build it with us along the way, they brought their skills, you brought your skills, I brought my skills. It was a real true team effort with Auxilium Technologies here in Maryland. And I think that the outcome from some of those conversations where we're like, wait, not here, not there, it was you and I helping the developers understand that we need it usable, right? Like we need a functioning website for this business to work. They wanted it to be pretty and have the user experience and have the nice buttons and the videos. And so all of that together, I think, was what came out to the good result, was everybody bringing their own expertise. And I was excited to help you through that process. Every website built is different. So yours was a really cool and neat collaborative process. And I think that the outcome that I see that was really cool for me was when you were doing your talk and all of the people in the room picked up their phones and you said, go to trainlpl.com, and everybody picked up their phone and went to the website, and I could see them flipping through the things that we did. I don't know how that felt for you, but that felt pretty awesome for me.
Yeah, it was cool I think I was more locked in as being like, what am I saying next? Actually, no, I hadn't really thought about it until like right now. That was, it was kind of, now I think about it, it's nice to have some people actually kind of like look at it for a second. I did get a lot of feedback afterwards. People were like, man, the site looks really, really good. So shout out to Auxilium for making it look very, very pretty, right? But yeah, I've gotten lots of people that have been like, man, it looks fantastic. And then the other part with having a site that I didn't realize was, I feel like it sounds funny, but like the confidence that I can hold to myself, like I have zero problem talking about, like I was going to go to a business expo and I was messaging him and I was like, here's my website, but I said it with confidence. I was like, yo, like, check it out, man. Like, I'm not playing, like this isn't like some David Hughes terrible website. It was like it's a legit, it's clean, it looks professional, flows really well. I mean, they got some of the cool, I think the shadows and this, the way it works. I don't know. It gives me a lot of confidence as a business owner just to be like, yeah, like we're for real,
We got a legit business website here. Yeah. And I think it's my role to help people understand how to translate that relationship with the designers and their business, and how do you make this work for you so that you actually get money in the door and get sales in the door. Because in the end of the process, we still had to talk about, well, once people click on the site, what happens, right? They come into your sales funnel. How are you going to lock them in? What does that look like for you? And that's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, I think that was one huge thing. I was like, I was explaining to some people, I was like, you don't understand. I was like, I had a website, and I was like, now she made it into an actual functioning funnel that takes the experience and actually helps people get into like an easier, transaction if they choose to do so. So yeah, that was cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Otherwise, your website could just be there being trash and not leading to any sales. We don't want that either, right? We don't want a beautiful website that doesn't convert. Like that's not good. So the thing we teased in the beginning of this episode that I want to make sure we get to is, if people are looking for a trainer and you're trying to hire one, there's a sea of people out there who have this skill, right? Or sell said skill. How do you choose, whether it's online or at your local gym or whatever? Like, what are the ways that you have helped people choose you guys as the right trainer for them? And what can other people do to find somebody?
So we'll break it down from in-person down. Because, even though I'm starting a virtual training one, I still think in-person is still insanely valuable. The people that I would say genuinely need to find someone who's in-person is if you're just at a like brand new and you're like, I'm so scared out of my mind about moving correctly or whatever that fear might be, to the point where it's like, I have to have somebody there. That's 100%. Like, yeah, go in for that. Or if you have an injury that probably should have a pair of eyes on, or like a post-injury, I should say, like you're just coming out of physical therapy, or that you can't really replicate what's given to you. So if I'm like, here, when we squat down, hips go this way and all that kind of stuff, if you're like, what? that might be a good time to hire somebody in person, right? Outside of that, I've worked with brand new people already on the app. This is where the experience of the coach comes in. So when we go to virtual, I think, unless you're like one of those people, I think virtual is a fantastic option. And I found this out because when I started training people at before, it was like they would meet like with me like once a week, and they were already, kind of knew what they were doing and stuff like that. And I would just program for them, and we'd meet the next week, and we just kind of keep the hamster wheel going, right? So after doing that enough times, I was like, what? Like, why don't I just save my time, right? And so I started doing this, and people started jumping in. I was like, man, I'm saving a bunch of my own time. Money is still coming as far as business-wise goes, and people are getting the exact same results. I was like, people are still doing fantastic. So the benefits of virtual. So if you're somebody who is, again, kind of shy, you don't have to be at a gym. At least what we can do is that we program out, again, from the comfort of your home, maybe a small studio, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, and like I said, your own abilities and stuff. We program for that. The experience, the coach part that I was talking about was we have seen enough people to understand that when you say or talk about a certain way and we can kind of read it, it's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't have people do X, Y, and Z, right? Let's have them do this kind of stuff. So we try to give people like the boundaries of which they can work within, and we know what they're probably going to do. So they may not be the best at like moving perfectly, but we're like, hey, here's a series of exercises. We know that you're probably not going to have any problems with, injuries or confusion or anything like that, right? And we just kind of program around like that way. And then, so it's kind of really built for anyone. So if somebody's looking for just a result and a way to do things that's not so super structured, but you just need a guidance to be like, hey, I'm working all day. I don't want to think about what I'm trying to do in the gym. That's a perfect example. So the CEO, the nurse, all that kind of stuff. And then, someone who just needs an extra little push or the guidance and can rest knowing that, be like, if I do this stuff at the effort that I'm told to do it at, I'm going to get the result that I need.
Yeah, I think that that's all about the results. And trainers come at different price points. So it's really not even like you should be choosing based on how much this service costs, because there's so many different price points, right?
Yeah, there's in person. Yeah, it's going to get expensive, or it can get expensive very quickly. So when I talk to somebody, I do try to respect that. I'm like, hey, based on how much this is going to cost, I know that we can only do a certain amount, right, in person. Beautiful part with the online, it's literally like a small fraction. Like I know that like if you train with me in person multiple times a week, you're going to easily hit like that $1,000 mark in the month. It's really, really easy to hit. And then it's like you can do that, or like the 200 that we offer for an entire month of every single thing that you will ever need. I think that's very, very valuable for the coach. The other thing too is that I don't know if I really should go into that part, but like a lot of gyms, a lot of businesses will, I'm not going to say burn out their coaches. A lot of places do really well, but business tend to be like a business stands on top of all the people working, right? At Lean Performance, one of the reasons why I started it, because I wanted to get out of a place that wasn't making very much, working a ton and everything. But I do want people to know that when you purchase a Lean Performance program and you're working with a coach, that coach really is getting the majority of that financial benefit. So you can rest assured that they're giving you all of their passion and advice and education, but that they are being taken care of. So whatever you invest in your coach, they are actually being taking the majority at home. So I want people to know that we're taking care of everybody.
I'm glad you said that, because that's important, right? It's the ways that we choose to do business that are equally important to the things that we do in our business. And I think that that's another way that you're making an impact, by making sure that you're taking care of your own people. And you do intend to grow this to 15, 20 trainers. So it is going to be important to make sure that you have that infrastructure and the values internally. So I've been so excited to have you, obviously, as my guest and as my client, and all the love in the world for you and your business, and our new venture of launching Lean Performance Life's website, trainlpl.com. And I just wanted to ask you, in the last question that we have for you today, is to tell folks just where can they find you, what can they connect with, and what might they be able to get? Maybe you can tell them about that 14-day free trial.
Oh, yeah. So make sure you head over to trainlpl.com. That's going to be the Lean Performance Life website. You'll find our programs that we have there, our coaching programs, everything about each coach, the blogs, everything like that. And then that 14-day free trial. That's just a chance for anybody to jump in there, get experience with the app a little bit. If you're really in shape, it's that thing could crush you. If you're just learning how to do something like that, you have the ability to cater it for yourself. So if you're brand new, the only thing is you want to make sure that you check each program. If you're buying an instant program or that one, that there are requirements for the type of equipment you have. So some of the instant ones are designed for the gyms, and the other ones, I think there's a thing on them that states exactly what you'll need on it before you purchase it. So, but outside of that, yeah, checking that out. And then Lean Performance Life Instagram, and also on LinkedIn as well. So any of those things, if you have any questions, hit me up and I'd be more than happy to chat and hang out with you.
Yes. So today's guest has been David Hughes from Lean Performance Life, one of my clients. It's been a pleasure to have you. And thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Social Impact Level Up podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining us for today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation, and we look forward to having you come back. If you're curious about something that we've said, it's probably down in the show notes. Make sure that you check those out. And do you want the secrets to grow your nonprofit or business, make it more sustainable and more profitable? Hop into my Learn, Grow, Thrive University, where I give you exclusive access to resources, mini courses, and templates for free. All you have to do is sign up with your email address at wendyveloz.com/university. See you next episode.